Good afternoon, one and all. A very warm welcome to this session. So, Hack the Mountains Qubits is back with its sixth workshop on Let's Give Power to Your Voice. HTM Qubits. Qubits means quantum bits. Just like small quantums of packets of information makes the whole information. In the same way, these workshops will make you a tech geek at the end. These workshops started at September 20 and last till 9th October. These workshops are conducted by industry professionals. What would you get by attending these workshops? Rewards for participants during the workshops, e-certificates to all the participants, and learning and experience sharing by industry professionals. To get the e-certificate, please fill the form that we provide you in the chat later. Coming to today's session, voice is becoming trending day by day. Everyone is switching to voice commands rather than typing text or taking decisions. Every tech gadget offers its own digital voice assistant like Siri by Apple, Google Assistant by Google, Cortana by Microsoft, Alexa by Amazon, and many more. So, voice is the new interface after graphical. So, in this session, you will learn about voice user interface and how to get started on voice assistants. For this, we have our speaker, Smit Jethwa. He recently received a badge of Google's product expert in Google Assistant by Google. He has keen interest in Python programming language and he has been quite explorer in voice technology and natural language processing. Welcome, sir. Very glad to have you here. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I'm glad to be the Google Assistant across the world. Yeah, we can start there. Hello everyone. Uh, Today we'll learn something about a new interface like when interface is voice assistant. We all are aware about the graphical user interface. We are graphical interface to the user interface like a voice interface, how user will interact with the voice, and why the voice is important. So as we said ki voice is like voice technology has changed everything, keeping notes, calling a friend, to order a pizza from a nearest outlet, things becomes too for example, you can say Siri, play you and I by direction one direction. Hey Google, open what. Suppose you are driving a car and you need a food, you can simply say, "Hey Google, navigate to the nearest restaurant," and without a single touch. So even now, voice assistant can be embedded in the website as well. You can grab the attendance from the audience or visitor as well. But actions are not limited. Are not only for like you open the WhatsApp, you open the application or something like to events. Uh, Three quarters of driver, where a report says by Capgemini Research Institute, they said the nearly three quarters of driver will use in-car voice assistant. Voice assistant widely used in entertainment, education, customer support, but now it can device like the car driver, like BMW is embedded the smart speaker in the car. Then we take an example of a Domino's. They simplify the ordering a pizza system using a Dialogflow conversation technology. Like you just to open the Google Assistant and hey Google, place my Domino's order, and the rest of the thing will be up to the voice assistant. But voice assistants are not only changing our everyday life, they are also driving a revolution in IT world. Nowadays, developers are on those innovative technology and build custom solutions. But why we are giving like importance to the Google? Like if we say in India, why we are giving importance to the voice assistant? The major example will be like the languages available on the Google Assistant. They are like 30, more than 30 languages are available. In addition to that, all these languages are available on a Google Assistant. But for the developer console, like developer can build in English or Hindi for now as well. For now, in future edition, they can be able to use multiple languages and then on Google language. Google Assistant. But why we think Google Assistant will like voice assistant will be helpful in India? Because we have the language diversity. We speak multiple language, and then we go state by state. The language will differ. The accent will differ. So we need to change assistant in regional language. Suppose when you give inputs, when you interact with the user in their regional language, it becomes one emotional, like you are talking with the person in their language, so it's helpful to gain the user. And now if we see the stats of multiple languages, so if we say they are most spoken language in Hindi is Hindi according to Census India reports. But if we see the Telugu is at 6.7%, Tamil is 5.7%. It doesn't mean it's too low. In fact, if we see the if we compare the speakers of Tamil, the speakers of Tamil will be more than some Europe, more than the population of European country. But here the one question raised is how many percentage of the people in rural area can write their own mother tongue? We agree, like if we go on the rural side, they can speak the language, our grandparents, they can read the language, they can speak the language, but we are not aware, like mostly they cannot write the language, write them mother tongue. So how the voice will be helpful? If they go to the bank, they don't need to fill, and like they don't need to write anything on the checkbook, they don't need to write anything on the passbook, any no form filling, everything will be voice. So if the voice enter your what is the name in the mother tongue, so the person will be able to use the language voice assistant by the voice only. Like there is no need of typing anything. If the person don't know the mother how to write the mother tongue, it will helpful to fill the many pages form in few minutes. So there are three types, like how the user will interact with the chatbot. The one is a type, another is a voice and touch. So if it is the touch, simply we use the Google Assistant, or we use the any assistant like Alexa or a Siri. It's a touch base. If we are using on a screen on a type while we are giving some inputs, or we are interact with the chatbots on the website, so it will be the type. And in a voice it can be helpful in the suppose a car embed chatbot, then mobile assistant, Google Home, or Alexa. So we interact with them on voice. It's a voice based. So there are multiple types of chatbot. So one is open bias, closed bias, and task oriented. So if it's the open bias, chat with chat with the bot, and it will give some FAQ kind of things, like a Q&A system. Then we take an example of a Rose bot, or we can take an example of a Natasha bot on the hike. Like chit chat bots, like you can interact with them for fun or fun FAQ, or suppose maybe it's like navigation FAQ as well. In a closed bias, a self assistant bot, like self a bot or bot conversing based on the information, like you collect a database of multiple columns. Like if you say suppose you are a sales manager, and you are arranging one, like you are managing one sales of one retailer shop. So there will be a one column of a day, then the sales report. Now you ask for the bot, like what is my sales in April month. So it will extract the information from the spreadsheet and give it to in a room. So this is the example of bot conversing on the information. You gave some information, and according to it ML trend itself, using like NLU. We'll see the NLU in the next part. But you trend. Another one is the task oriented. It like task oriented is what is restricted to the particular task. We saw about the API calls. We to answer the query, sometimes we call the API calls to get the data from the database, or to get the data from some to extract the website and give it to the user. So as we saw that Domino's bot, it was a task oriented. Then we'll move to the any website to the embedded website. Chatbot is embedded on the website to get the contact me like contact here or more details. You can voice, you can chat with the chatbot. It's a task oriented bot, like it's particular restricted from particular task. But how you will start, like if we saw the introduction of a chatbot is quite interesting, but how you can start with the chatbot, so they are like many frameworks are available. Suppose Google Assistant, then Accents SDK is available in Python, the Rasa, and many chatbot frameworks available. There are few of Rasa, then IBM Watson, then Alexa. There's a Bixby by Samsung is also available for the developer, but JavaScript and Python are trending more for chatbot building because they support Python supports the NLP, like NLP in easy language. So we developer use Python to build the website, and JavaScript as well as because of the SDK. Now, if you see the voice, IBM Watson Assistant is available in JavaScript, Python, and Go in many languages. Google Assistant also available in Java, JavaScript, Python, and similarly, mostly it's the Node.js framework and Alexa and Rasa as well. Rasa in Python, like you can develop the chatbot in Rasa using like NLP, NLU, and then deploy on the website. The second thing is natural language understanding. The second is natural language understanding. So here comes the vision of when we are I previously said we need to chatbot will interact with the regional person. He may speak in their own language. There can be a language bias, like language accent may be differ. In the natural language understanding, we train the model. Similarly, it can interact with the natural language, and they can form their own words, like own sentence, which is understandable by the person. In another way, is a user experience. So if you create a chatbot, you create a chatbot and user is simply it might be a if else statement, but a user experience is important. Suppose when chatbot user is interact with the chatbot and he left so again after few days again he you he invoke the chatbot. So now you cannot say hey, how are you, how can I help you. You can say hi, I glad to see you back or glad to see you again. And apart from this, in the chatbot, like when you display, there should be a box, there's the card, then borders, then color. All things are in the user experience, like how the user will interact and how user will look like. If you suppose order a hotel ordering application, so you will not but you can say you will not write multiple intents. Like user need to invoke 5 to 6 intent just to place one order. It will be like a difficult to them. Instead of chatbot, he will switch to the Android application or any application. So user experience is much important. So we see like where you can start with the building the chatbots. Now in this session, we'll cover one chatbot in depth, and that's a Google Assistant. I just Google Assistant because it's quite friendly, quite user friendly, and it's quite friendly. If you are a beginner with the chatbot, you can build in Google Assistant in few minutes. There are many templates are available, chatbots are available, so you can start with the bots. Now there are few global invocations are available. You can interact with the assistant. You control your home device. Then you can booking, direction, navigation, and translate. So how you can make your own Google Assistant? There are few tools available which will help you to build your Google Assistant. The first is Action and Google Console, second Dialogflow, and third Firebase. Action and Google Console is like where you will fix the user experience or user interactive, like how the user will invoke the system, your action. The second, you will train your model, and you can deploy your model on Dialogflow. You will actually build your model, give the intent details. You will call the APIs in Webhook. You will call the you will call the fulfillment. Then you can make have your chatbot. Suppose you make your chatbot in Dialogflow. So now user will not interact with the Dialogflow. It will interact with your website. It may be a Google Assistant. Then it may be a website. It may be a Telegram bot. It will be a Slack bot. So Dialogflow provides the integration in which you can integrate your chatbot in various platforms. And the third is Firebase. The Firebase it generate a platform as a service which will be allow you to store the user information. Will use for authentication. Will be used for the database. If your database like a user database, you can store. It will define a cloud storage or cloud database. Now we'll see the extension Google Console. So external Google Console is the one step where you can develop where you can develop your console where you can test you can test your chatbot over here by giving multiple outputs and deploy means you later you deploy your chatbots over here. You give like terms and condition. You give your application's privacy policy. You give multiple intents. Suppose there are two types of invocations. Suppose one invocation, if we made a bot for suppose Hack the Mountain hackathon, we make a chatbot for the Hack the Mountain hackathon. So the invocation will be talk to Hack the Mountain hackathon. But it's a global invocation. Now, if you see like a deep link, there's a one more type of invocation of a deep link invocation. It eases the task more. Suppose you give invocation Hey Google, ask Hack the Mountain hackathon about the speakers. So it will invoke the speaker intent from the Hack the Mountain action. So similarly, you all think mentioned in the deployment section and the actions builder, the new update from the actions in Google, like you can build the actions. So is a drag and drop, like you can visualize your conversation flow in the in you are in welcome intent, then there may be two intent. Like suppose it depends the user user input. If the user want to invoke input intent one, it will go to the here. Or suppose intent two, and it will visualize the flow what will be the next intent, a dialog flow. And similarly, side by side, it will manage the NLU training. Like you will give the input suppose input invocation, like for every each and every intent there will be one invocation. There will be many training phrase. By giving the training phrase, you will invoke the particular intent. So similarly, the NLU will training the data. And the next is dialog flow. Dialog flow contain of two things. Dialogflow contain of two things: intent and entity. So intent means you give one intent. Suppose I said speakers. So Heck the Mountain has many intents. Suppose a speaker intent, schedule intent, then workshop intent, then we can say contact us intent, about us intent. So there are many kind of intents. And now user will say, Heck the Mountain. Hey Google, open the Heck the or talk to Heck the Mountains. It will open some intent or welcome to the Hector Mountain. You can explore XYZ features. Now, if you say a speaker, those speaker word will be matched and categorized with the predefined intent, and it will call the speaker intent. Now, entity means suppose we can say a set of some values. Suppose if there are multiple speakers, each and every speaker will be the entity. Then suppose there is a schedule. So we can schedule a day wise entity. Then we can schedule there is a team. So we can team entity. So every team member will be in the team entity. It will identify the words. Now suppose if we ask you done with the schedule and someone say what which session is held at around 12 noon. So 12 noon is the time. So it's the time entity. It will identify a time. Then you can say it's Suppose capital of India. So India is a country. So it will be a country entity. So there are many entity. We'll see. Suppose there are system.dat, sys.color, sys.geo country, currency, temperature, URL. Apart from this, there are many. Suppose the email address, then city, then there are several entities around like you which help you to build your assistant. Suppose there are multiple country. If I train my model by suppose that I'm making a geography chatbot related to geography. So if I ask a user to enter the country, but I train my model on the India, US, and Germany, some European countries, so it will not identify the rest countries. So if I wrote India with the entity system geo country, so it will identify all the countries in the world. And similarly, system.color, it will identify all the color. I don't need to train my model on different colors. And apart from this, Dialogflow, I said Dialogflow provide the user user interface how your output will be displayed to the user. So there are multiple response times where your system, your chatbot will reply to the user in multiple response. The similarly, one is a simple response. Simple response means like suppose when you invoke the model, it will display some text. It's like the 640 character limit in the simple response, like you can give the same basic response over here. The next is the basic card is the it will display a card over here. It will have some image, it will have title, it will have some subtitle you can add, then the a description over here, then you can embed the button over here. Now if you can click the menu, if suppose we can take the example of any event. So if I click on the speaker, so it will generate a speaker with some basic card, speaker image, speaker name, specific designation about speaker, and suppose link to the portfolio xyz. So it can contain an image, title, subtitle, text body. If you remove the text body, you can increase the size, then you can add the borders. Suppose this was the one card, but there may be a multiple cards, so you can use the browse carousel. In browsing carousel, you can add the title, image, description, and footer. And the user can click. It's an actionable event, so user can click on the particular card, and now you can invoke the particular. Suppose this is a invoke. Suppose this is a like I call the Hack the Mountains chatbot. It's a schedule. So I click on the schedule. It will give some multiple inputs like multiple. It will list what the events. So in you can add minimum two tiles. Like it's called a tile. It's complete. It's one tile and it's second tile. So you can add multiple tiles, like minimum two and maximum 10. But if you are using a Dialogflow, you can add 10 tiles. But if you are you are using a fulfillment, or you are calling a function to create the tile, so you can add many tiles. And the next is suggestion chips. So suggestion chip, similarly say when you are invoke a model, you are invoke a chatbot. So it's like a good practice. Your user won't be like distract your user should not be confused yeah, what will be the my next what will be the my next step. I don't know what to do next with the chatbot. So you can give multiple suggestions whether you want to explore this section or many sections uh, in again suggestion chip supports only plain text. You can add one to eight suggestions chip over here. Next is the media response. Media response will help you to play the music in the mobile in the assistant. Like you can invoke the assistant. Now here it can replay till 10 seconds and forward till 30 seconds. So you can add the at least 240 seconds, like at max 240 seconds of image or audio over here. You can add your image, and it's accept mp3 file. Next is a list. Again I said you can have a multiple type of response. So in list you can enter the list. Suppose there is a speaker or there is a team list, then it will contain the multiple. Suppose the team member one, team member two, team member three. Or if we take the example of a Domino's, it will be item one, item two, the image, their description, their price. And upon click upon this, like again it's actionable event. You can click on this and it will expect the it will move to the next feature. Like you can order it now again, if you see, it will contain a list title and list item. List title, it's like it's a one line. You cannot add multiple lines, and the title must be a unique. And now this is the example of a basic card, like how you can code. Like you can add the card using Dialogflow, but here it's using Extens SDK where you can ask is conversation.ask. Here is the example of basic card. So it will display a card something like this. Yeah, this is the basic card. Now, if I say con.ask new basic card, you will create a new card, add some text, and as I said, it accepts the markdown, so you can bold the value, you can italic, or you can emphasize the values. You can add the subtitle, title, and you can add the button, something like this, similar to like you have to code image and display. In and you can ask which response you will to see next. Now after this, you can add your suggestions. Like if user is confused, you might give some two or three suggestions which can be related to related to the previous actions. Now if you say this is for one card, but suppose this is there will be a multiple card, so you can use the for loop and ask this con again and again. The next is the webhook and fulfillment. So I said webhook and fulfillment are used to call the data. If you want to interact some chatbot, like to get the data from the database, you will use the fulfillment or webhook. So in fulfillment section, you will if you say you enable the fulfillment. There are two types: inline editor and webhook. So in inline editor, it's in Dialogflow. The inline editor is provided by it's like powered by the Google Cloud Functions. You just need to write your code over here. We'll demo the webhook and inline editor in next part in this session. So in Webhook, you will write your like multiple lines of code, and you will call the database. You will call the API. You get some call, you request and get and post. Then you will display your result to the user. And similarly, in inline editor does not support the external API. You can use the APIs provided by the Google. And yeah, inline editor works well with the Firebase database. As I said, if you are using like the third party database, you need to call the external API call. So inline editor doesn't support external API call. Again, next part was the integration. As I said, we can integrate use Dialogflow chatbot with the multiple platforms. So there are multiple types. Like this is a click telephony. Like you will call if you don't have internet, you will call certain toll free number, and you can talk with the assistant. So the first one is Dialogflow beta. Dialogflow beta telephony. So you will the number provided by the like you on the Dialogflow platform. They want if you enable this service, there will be a toll free number. The user needs to call on the toll free number, and it will ask like you can have a conversation with with the chatbot. But again, the all the telephones doesn't accept any card, any like a stylus carousel. You can convert with the like you can conversation with the only chat, only text based. They maybe no suggestions. This is only a text based, like only voice. The next is Avaya. This is Avaya. So Avaya and audio cards and Dialogflow. There are multiple telephones, but via Dialogflow and audio cords are major to platform used with the voice in on telephone service. And the other another one is text based. In text based, you can add like stylish carousel. You can add the basic card. You can add the suggestion, or you can add carousel list. You can add the first one is the website. Website, there is a Dialogflow messenger. The Dialogflow messenger is available. Like you create a Dialogflow, and you if you enable the Dialogflow messenger, it will generate a code. It's a like a JS script code. You need to place the copy the code and paste whenever you like when in whatever HTML page you want to display. You create the code and display on the website. Another one is Slack, Messenger, and Telegram. So again, all these are the platform. Like you enable the Slack, and then it will give you some API. You or Telegram, it will give you a bot token. You enter in Dialogflow and you get start. You can start with the Telegram conversation. And another one is API based code. They are not part of that. They don't support API token in Dialogflow. But yeah, you can programmed externally to get the data from the Dialogflow, the Twitter, Twilio, and Skype. So when you interact with the Twitter or Twilio, the Twilio support IP messaging and text messaging. So you enable the IP and text messaging. You get some API. You write the code from Twilio side and get the access from Dialogflow. The next is a Firebase. So there are many services. They are Firewall, the platform is a service. They provide the many service, but we see which are important for to integrate with the Google Assistant. The first one is a cloud storage. You can get the data. You can get the data from the storage and you store on the website. You can store the user store your suppose menu items. So suppose you have n number of items like in hotel, so you can store each and every item in the storage, and then the call and the cloud functions. We said cloud functions will be used in fulfillment and webhooks. If you are using an internal inline editor, so it will call the cloud functions. And in webhook you can use you can use using dialog you can use the cloud functions, or you can use the Heroku webhook, or you can use any webhook platform. In the Firestore and real time database, both are the database other database. But like a real-time database, like real-time syncing makes easy for your user to access the data from any device. Like it may be a home, it may be a mobile phone, it may be a website, and it will help user to collaborate. And again, the cloud firestore, if you have a large query multiple it multi if you have if you need to get the multiple amount of data, large amount of data, you can use the cloud firestore. And apart from this, they provide the authentication and many service in the Firebase, which we are not related to the Google Assistant, so we can skip that part. This is a sample code of Firebase. I have used a Firestore over here, like how you can get the data from the Firestore. So similarly, I open the constant admin, require Firebase admin. So you import the Firebase admin module. You generate an instance of admin.firestore. Now in the export, get latest word. This is a function. This is a field in the database. Now you can say functions on the HTTP request. Async call mostly we use async call to get the data and request and response. Now create a snapshot like what the you required. So this is collection. So in Firestore, the table is called as a collection. Like it's similar to the table but not the table basically. So there is a field called post, and there is post then last modified date. So in the descript in the descending order, limit 100. So I need only 100 latest post, and I get the data using get function. I got the data. It's stored in the snapshot, and then you can response dot send to the snapshot dot doc. to user. Now it will map to doc to the doc data. Is a basic feature of how you can use the cloud firestore. We saw how we go through with the extension console, Google console. We go through with the Webhook and API calls. We go through with the fulfillment. We go through with the cloud like Firestore services. But they all are three different parts. But how the user will interact with the process. So there is a simple conversational flow. How the user will interact with your user with the chatbot. So suppose user invoke hey Google talk to which language. So which language is the name of the intent. It will using the Google Flow, using the Google Flow, Google Home platform. It gone to the Google Assistant. It will you talk to the assistant, right? So it will generate a speech from text. It's some NLP and understand the invocation which intent to make. Then if we done with the I need to assistant which intent need to call, the dialog flow will call the it will trigger the intent, and there is a response in some response is attached to the intent, so it will give to the users. So I tell me which language. So it said tell me about the Kotlin. Now Kotlin again it when uh, process in the extension Google console, speech to text and dialog flow. Now Kotlin is a language, so it may be an entity create a one entity, and there are a multiple language. So Kotlin is entity, so it makes the phrase. It makes the phrase of language is a Kotlin. So data is stored in some. It may be some database or somewhere else where I need to developer need to call the API. So using the webhook part, it will call the API. It will request so suppose the database is used real-time database. So in Kotlin, there is a data stored in the Kotlin. It will give response to the dialog flow, and again to extension console, and the console will say it will uh, it will respond the text format, so it will convert into speech in speech, and the Google Home will deliver the response to the user. So this was a simple flow, like how conversation flow, how Google Assistant works. But there are many, like if you compare many many intents. So you there can be like follow-up intent. Suppose if you say example of any e-commerce chatbot, so user select three or four products, then even to a checkout. So you can ask them you are done with the shopping, so you buy to add some more products, give me suggestion, yes or no. So yes or no is a follow-up, a follow-up kind of questions, like if he say yes, so he agree that he done with the previous intent. Now you can call the next intent. But we saw we saw the conversion flow of the Google Assistant. But what if we are the developer and designers? So which are the features or unit we need to get sort which features are important while building the Google Assistant. So there are few questions what the user are going to ask. So now if you say what users are going to ask, so it will redirect to the intent questions, what user will be the ask. So if a user ask, suppose if we took the example of Hack the Mountains hackathon, so what user can be asked? User can be asked about the speaker, user can be asked about the schedule, user can be asked about the contact us, user can be asked about the team page. So all are the intents. So if user can ask multiple questions, so all will be our intents. User can ask FAQ, so FAQ will be our intent. And how are they going to ask? Suppose mostly the if you are building for the Hexa Mountains hackathon, so it will be mostly a mobile based or website based. So it may be a text based or it may be voice based. So we need to assign if voice based, so we cannot use if it is a can say Google Home, so we cannot add suggestions. So by these questions we define like what are the response time we should use, and the last one is how the user how will conversation proceed. So here like how the system, if a user invoke the intent, so how should system respond to the user, and what will be the dialog flow. So now user ask about the, suppose user ask about the Heck the Mountain speakers. So Heck the Mountain chatbot respond with the few speakers. And now if we say one more question like how system should respond, the system responds about the it give you a list of multiple speakers. Now next question, what will be the dialog flow? So here you can like we can give the dialog flow like check out the schedule, or click on any speaker to get to learn more about the speaker. So by suggestion chips, or you by give a hint, chatbot will proceed or set the dialog flow. Apart from this, it may happen like user click on the schedule, user click on the speakers page. Now he is not interested to explore any speaker. He click on the schedule page. So it dialog flow should call the speaker intent as soon as possible. Uh, Now suppose we got the like how designer will design the chatbot, but there are few more tips which will help the user to make the actions more powerful. So we'll see like what are the tips which a user can help. The first one is provide the helpful reprompts and fail gracefully. It means if suppose this is an example of a dominoes. It means like a user a general fallback. Suppose there is a two type of intent. Welcome intent, it will call when the user invoke the function, and another will be a fallback intent. Fallback intent means whatever the user asks is like we don't have any answer to give them. So we need to make more meaningful conversation. Like why user ask unnecessary thing, so we should give them suggestions, or suggestion chips, give them links like a list. It will help user to understand the actions in better way, and it will increase the conversation rate in analytics. Now it means like how user is like associate with the linked with the chatbot, how user in like converse with the chatbot. So you can give them like general fallback. The next is a like be prepared to help anytime. It means like you create the intent. Suppose the first one intent is, suppose you call the you create the chatbot. Hi, how can I help you? But you don't need any like you said how can I help you? But you if user ask anything and you are not prepared to that, suppose like this is like tree intent, like in the custom intent or inbuilt intent. So you need to create your intent handler possibly. Like if you say what can you tell me, so or help me. So in this intent offer something in response that offers overview like what agent can do, but direct user in a possible action. Also use follow up intent in dialog flow to create different help scenario, maybe a scenes. And actionable intent, like if you create a list and user click on the list, there is a no response, like there is no response from the speaker page. So on the you can say follow up intent, so it doesn't look good. So you need to create a follow up intent to prepare anytime. The next is a personalized conversation with the user. It will help like if you create the welcome intent. So all the time welcome intent should not be like hello, how are you, hello, how can I help you, hello. Or then if you user said bye, so great, see you again, great, no problem, or thank you. So like it's not a personalized actions, like how if you are calling the customer care, so it will give you hello sir, hi, good morning sir, like and if you are ended with the call, it will say thank you, I like like you got the help from me, like all the necessary help. So you can create you can the customer can will create the personalized impact with the user in complete duration. So similarly in here, you can ask the user from the preference, and if we create, suppose if I took the e-commerce chatbot, so you can store the preference of the user, whether he will create the like multiple or several kinds of identity. Similarly, suppose I took the example of a Zomato. So every though I order from Zomato 2 times, and all the in 2 times in both the times I ordered Punjabi and veg dish in Punjabi. So in next time I order the Zomato, so it is that I remember you ordered Punjabi and Punjabi, and last time would you want to order again? So in this kind of filter, I doesn't require like to enter the multiple times, like same response multiple times. Similarly in the like if you are using Google Home, in suppose in a car or in a car device, you call the you say, hey Google, play music. So you can say, last time I remember you played One Direction. Will you like to go with the One Direction or any other playlist? So you can give like personalized intent. In this example, in this example, it's a weather report. An argument is a zip code. So you can say, should I remember the zip code for the next time? Yes or no? If I say yes, so you will store the zip code in the database. And the next time when the same user invoke the weather report, you can say, yes, sir, I know you from this remember the zip code, or you want to go with this same code, or you want to again enter a new zip code. Similarly, on you you when you are ending the code, like ending the intent, you can say, great to see you next time. And again next time after 2 or 3 days, you remember I we talked last week, something like this. And the next is a customization for return user. In return user means when user in call with the invoke the functions. Suppose hey Google, talk to Hack the Mountain hackathon. So it will say, hey Google, sorry, hey user, welcome to the Hack the Mountain hackathon. You can explore multiple sections. But now if a user is interact with the like the mountain chatbot once, and again after 1 or 2 days again he invoke the hack the mountain hackathon. So chatbot should not say hello again, welcome to, because I'm not the like first user. I know no first time user to chatbot. I know what are the functionality are available. So you can say, hey, welcome, you are back, or glad to see you again. It will generate a personalized impact on the customization user. So there is a function like user dot last seen. So when you are interact with the Google Assistant, so you need to sign in with your Google account. So Google Assistant knows like when you interact with the last time, so you can create the last seen property and determine whether the user is interact with the action before or not, and you can create a request accordingly. But now we'll see some demo. Just hold on, we'll see some demo.
Yeah, that was a very
Um,
informative session, sir.
my no, wait, my screen is visible, right?
No, no.
Uh, can you add my screen? Thank you.
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Thank you. So as I said, some demo. So I created a demo session, demo intent for this. This is a simple dialog flow. and this is a welcome intent, like what the user will interact with the chatbot. This is a fallback intent. If user does not match any intent, it will trigger the fallback intent. And similarly, ask the favorite team. Suppose I create one agent called IPLT. So I create an agent, I create an intent, uh, IPL team. So now I training phrase with all the IPL teams. I enter the names, and if you see, this is the entity which I create, custom entity IPL team names. There are multiple availables. You can see. Fine. Now, yeah, I give a response. Here is the information about the IPL team, and I enable the fulfillment. It means now when the user will invoke the ask the favorite team intent, it will call the fulfillment. In fulfillment section, I enable the inline editor, which can call which can interact with the user. In now second thing, yeah, see, I call the functions. I wrote the Node.js script on the and hosted on the cloud, Google Cloud Functions. Now similarly, it will debug this one. Yeah. See, here you can intent ask the favorite team, and you can ask your favorite team. Now with the you can setting up functions, like if user create the ask a favorite team, it will call the function out ask favorite team. And similarly here, it will say ask favorite team. I create a function with agent. Agent is our Dialogflow agent, and like in Dialogflow, agent is a body which contain the intent, which contain the entity, and which contain the integration. Like all the settings related to one chatbot is called agent. Some now we I create the team name agent dot parameters or IPL fav team. So if you see, just if you see ask favorite team, suppose there is a multiple team, and the parameter of variable name is IPL underscore FAB dot team underscore team. So I create the parameters IPL FAV team. Now where team dict, I create a dictionary with all the captains of IPL teams. This is a sample. You can add more details. And then dict name you I split. Okay, fine, that's fine. Now what will we do here? Suppose I create the text test. Suppose smart display. It's a talk to my test app.
Okay, getting the test version of my test app. Greetings. Let's explore the IPL. Which is your favorite team?
Now there are like I give suggestion, Mumbai and Chennai. But apart from this, it can give you can explore with many teams. Suppose I said Chennai, so it will call the ask favorite team
Captain
function.
of Chennai Super Kings as MS Dhoni.
So it will trigger the ask the favorite intent over here because I said Chennai, and the favorite team it will call the fulfillment. It go to the Firebase, Dialogflow. It call the ask the favorite team function, and I said agent.add. So agent.add is used to function is used to add anything on the chatbot screen response. So I said captain on the team name is team dict. So I create a dictionary. But apart from this, like this is a static, but you can call the database here. You will store your data in the database, and you will call the functions from that. Like you get the data from the database. And now if you say, suppose I said again, yeah, I said it said captain of Chennai Super King is MS Dhoni. Now another part is agent dot set context. So I said to create the sentence if we say suppose where the context will be used to to store the maybe a temporary, we can say temporary value. Suppose I asked Google, hey Google, what is the temperature in Mumbai? So it will give some value. But again I said, what about Delhi? I said, what about Delhi? But it didn't. I didn't mention I need temperature of a Delhi. So it will save the context of if I said Mumbai, so it will regenerate, like it will link the previous action with the previous called actions. Now again I said, what is the Prime Minister of India? So it will give the name Narendra Modi. I said his age. So I don't know, what about what is his over here? So it will link to his to the Narendra Modi. So similarly, you can set your context over here, and in context it use store the values for a temporary period of time. And now it's an entity. Now here I ask about the when the user said, I said cancel, and the first test.
Alright, getting the test version of my test app. Greeting. Captain of Delhi Capital says Shreya's Iyer.
Now here I type DC, but in the intent, in IPL team you can define like how your entity can be called by the many names. So here Mumbai Indians is Mumbai Indians, MI or Mumbai. Chennai Super Kings, CSK or Chennai. So you can give like your one word can be uh, like there may be many synonyms, so you can enter the many synonyms. In suppose there may be if you say I only need email address, so you can open the you can enable the regular expressions in fuzzy matching. And apart from if you say the integration, you can create the integration. I'll display one. You can, yeah, see. You can create the Dialogflow messenger. It will give you a script. You need to add this script on your website on the and now and you can interact with the user. Set disable. Yes.
Is there issue with your screen, sir?
It's you can add your screen. I move to another switch. I switch the tab. You can add my screen now. Thank you. So if you want to explore more about the Google Assistant, you can move forward to the Kotlabs, where you can to build the Kotlab is give the information from A to Z, beginner to advanced. It will give you a resource like how you can build your assistant using extension builder, then how you can use your fulfillment for local home, or a TV, how you can create how you can connect your assistant with the home, your TV, and it's kind of a tutorial for assistant on Kotlab. So yeah, thank you. Now I'm open for any questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yes, sir, that was a great session. Thanks for sharing your valuable information and time with us. Had a great day.
Thank you, thank you. I am open for any questions if there are questions in the comment box.
Yeah, except I think there are no questions in the comment box, so we can
Okay.
move ahead. And once again, I would like to thank you, sir. And also, I would like to thank all the participants for watching this. Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to thank all the participants. Thank you so much for the joining. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye bye.
Yeah, have a great day. Bye, guys.